Hey, 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 it is Rebecca Simon Peter with what I think of as the leadership micro mojo, 5 minute leadership. So, thanks so much for being with me today. I'm really excited. Last week, I was on the road. I was in Iowa. Today, I'm back home in Casper, Wyoming from my office. And I have been thinking about the difference between a church leader and a church manager. And I wanted to share that with you. So, first thing I'd like to know, feel free to put in the chat. Do you think you're a church leader or do you think you're a church manager? And also, what do you think is the difference? I'm going to tell you, but I would love to hear your ideas about what is the difference between a church leader and a manager. All right. Cue up your answers, get those in the chat. Let's see what you have to say because I'm about to lay it on you. But first, let me tell you, I pastored local churches for 12 years. And by the time I left local church ministry, I loved it. I was called in, big, bold vision from Jesus. I love the church. I love the people. But by the time I left, I was frustrated. I was burnt out. Even with all the good, all the love that had happened in those ministries, I started to wonder, like, what happened to the grand calling I had? It was a burning bush kind of experience. And why was the church in decline, even though I had given everything plus everything? In the 15 years since that I've been doing leadership development, I've really immersed myself in mastering the principles and the practices of effective leadership in the church. And I'm going to tell you three things that I found out in this 5 minute uh, leadership micro mojo. But let's just talk about the difference between a manager and a leader first. So, a leader innovates so that things thrive. A manager tends to really focus on dotting the I's, crossing the T's. A leader will generate a brand new vocabulary. I think of the quintessential Rick Warren purpose driven church and all that came out of that purpose driven life. A manager makes sure everything is in order, but the leader sort of creates a new order. Managers tend to people and processes, but leaders build up new processes. They build up new people to serve. And if managing is sufficient when things are going well, let me tell you, leadership is absolutely crucial when it's not. And here we are post pandemic, a lot of things coming back to normal, but there's a lot of things we wish were going better than they are. So, in the next 3 minutes, I'm going to tell you three things church leaders need to know. Number one, if you're taking notes, write this down. Leaders may be born, but even more than that, they are formed. Let's say that together. Leaders may be born, but even more than that, they are formed. So, what do I mean? Some of us naturally have a personality style that people might equate with leader: outgoing, maybe direct, maybe bold, maybe getting things done, air of confidence. But as important as those qualities are, and they're important, they're not enough to actually constitute effective leadership. It's not the personality. An effective leader doesn't do it all by themselves. They also know how to empower others to get things done. So that's effective leadership, not just your personality, your way with people, but are you actually lifting up and empowering other people so you're building teams and teamwork? Biblically, we call that apostolic leadership. Jesus intentionally authorized and empowered the people around him to do what he did. Those were his apostles. Number two, effective leaders have high emotional intelligence. And again, you're not necessarily born with this, but it's really something you have to work on. So that's self awareness, empathy, motivation, social skills, self regulation. I've mentioned these in the past. Those are the five key components of emotional intelligence identified by Daniel Goleman. Take note: self awareness, empathy, motivation, social skill, self regulation. You're going to want to remember those. Now, Jesus had all these qualities in spades. I mean, he knew himself, he had empathy for others, he understood what motivated other people, he had the skill to move people in the direction he wanted them to go, a forward, positive direction. And finally, he knew how to self regulate. He knew how to regulate his own actions, his own motivations, his own fears, and the gospel stories of his interactions with friend and foe alike really illustrate his EQ. Okay, I got less than 1 minute to tell you the last piece. Church leaders can't save the church, and they shouldn't try. Yeah, you heard me. Church leaders cannot save the church, and they shouldn't try. And that's because the The elements of decline are bigger than we are. So instead of our sole focus being to boost giving or attendance or baptism, we need a focus that is larger than ourselves. Jesus had his eye on the kingdom, which required a complete refocusing of his energies, his spiritual energies, his religious energies. And out of this vision emerged not only the creation of a brand new movement that we now call Christianity, but a stronger, reinvented Judaism as well. All right, my time is up. That's the Leadership Micro Mojo. Stay connected, like this for other updates. Share it with a friend if they need it. Check me out at RebeccaSimonPeter.com. I will see you next week for our next Leadership Micro Mini Mojo. All right, take good care, folks. Bye.